Hey everyone, welcome to our supermarket that will exceed your expectations. Today, not only will we give you a little sapling, but we will also let you witness Old White's big adventure over the next 5 years. Old White wants to shine and return to the city swiftly, avoiding boring farm work. Yet his cross-country team proposal was rejected, leaving him puzzled. The language teacher's words were like a guiding light for Old White. He realized that these kids' grades are as low as the temperature in McFarland. If they can't make it to college, they'll be stuck in this tiny village. If they miss out on college, they'll only end up as farmers or heading down the wrong path. Old White was moved and vowed to fight for these kids. He decided to try again with the principal. His connections revealed the Education Bureau funds new sports, including cross-country running. The principal agreed to form the cross-country team at once upon hearing funding. Now, Old White must recruit 7 members. But it's no easy task. Students thought training interfered with farm work. None wanted to join. But there's always a way. Old White recalled that scene. Under the blazing sun, the students looked utterly exhausted. Gulping down tap water at the car wash, his inspiration struck. In PE class, Old White did his best, bringing 4 drinks to motivate runners. Fastest gets a sip. Tempted by this drink, 4 students unleashed their potential like a volcano. Old White promised perks: join the team for daily drinks. He promised good performance in contests could bring big scholarships and a chance for college as top students. Old White recruited 4 members. Next, thanks to their introductions, 2 more joined the team. As for the last spot, when Old White saw Thomas fighting, he cheered, "Our star has arrived." Old White and the principal put their heads together and finally got Thomas on the team, but only if they let him off the hook for his fighting. Finally, the 7-member team formed, but trouble arose before training as Chubby's weight worried all. They hoped Old White would swap him out, but he declared, "Chubby is a hidden gem. He'll be a big help when it counts." Old White continued to change fate. Effort first. They then began intense training. The town got a new sight in Old White coach and a bunch of Mexican students running under the blazing sun. The older Old White was panting as he ran, always ready to lean against the supermarket door for a breather. The boss greeted Old White once again, handing him a bottle of ice-cold soda. That's what we call barbecue-style affection. Even without the coach's supervision, the team members kept running tirelessly, completing 3 laps around the town. Back at the car wash, they cooled off and drank tap water. Chubby lagged but still made it to the end. Old White felt a mix of emotions as he saw his team in worn-out shoes. It struck a chord in his heart. Soon, they had their first match. Old White paid for new gear, full of hope. When they reached the starting line, the committee saw the seemingly lost team and mocked them for coming to waste time. But Old White confidently replied, "You can't judge a book by its cover. Who knows who will run well?" Then Old White explained the contest rules, stating scores were based on rankings. First place gets 1 point, second gets 2 points, and so on. The team with the lowest total wins. However, before the race, the competitors from other schools teamed up to mock McFarland. But the team held their anger inside, determined to show their true strength during the competition. At the gun shop, athletes dashed like wild horses, with Old White standing by, excited and nervous. He nearly forgot to go to the station to wait for them. In the first half of the race, the athletes ran at their own pace, with Thomas temporarily in fourth. But as the race wore on, things started changing around the scene. When they hit the beach, Thomas kicked it into overdrive, but the other competitors teamed up to block his way. Facing these obstacles, Thomas charged through desperately, eager to catch up. But unexpectedly, the long uphill became his Achilles heel, slowing him down like a movie in slow motion, and he was quickly overtaken by his opponent. Since McFarland is pretty flat, Thomas had never tackled this type of terrain and didn't know how to deal with it. At the end of the race, Old White anxiously awaited, but his team was still nowhere to be seen. It wasn't until the first batch crossed the finish line that he finally spotted Thomas, and his heart sank. Even though Thomas gave it his all, the outcome was disappointing, and McFarland's team didn't fare well either. Chubby, as usual, was the last to arrive, and their first match ended in a huge defeat, drawing laughter from the crowd. On the way back, the car was filled with defeat, and Old White carrying the weight of this loss was uncomfortable. He rallied them by saying, "Your strength is much more than this, and your future is too." This bright message chased away the clouds in their minds, but upon returning home, Old White felt profoundly lost. The school wouldn't help him get a better job or reunite his family in the city. His wife didn't care about that. She just wanted him to come home and forget work for a bit of time to focus on the kids. Old White verbally agreed, but couldn't get the cross-country training off his mind. The next day, he took the team to a lumpy, bumpy place to simulate some serious hill training. The team struggled to finish a lap and Chubby was nearly out of commission. But Old White just told them to keep running. He insisted they run without fear of hills, even pushed to the point of laughing in the face of those hills. The team kept crossing those hills like flames flickering in the wind, exhausted yet determined. Each step was a challenge to their limits, a fight against their fate. Finally, after completing 10 laps, Old White allowed them to stop, but Thomas, like a madman, was not about to quit.